Oh, I should do this for now while I'm checking to make sure all this stuff's working, and then we'll be live in just a second. I just don't want to have to I don't want to have to do a bunch of editing on YouTube after the thing's live. I just kind of want it to be done, you know. So that's why I hadn't done it originally. Okay, I think it's good. So since it's good there, and it's over here, I'm gonna send the update on Patreon by pressing the Publish Now button, which intimidates me every time. And I think it says, don't see your broadcast, click Start Broadcast in YouTube's stream window. Okay, cool. So I think it's working, which means I'm gonna press this button. Hey everybody, it is good to see you here. Welcome to IG Streamcap. Oh goodness, this is strange. This is like, it's a new streaming opportunity platform, something, and it's kind of intimidating. So I'm glad to be here, but I'm still kind of learning my way around it. Now I anticipate that these first few will be kind of small on the attendance, that kind of thing. But for now, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Josh. I run IntelliGame. If you're seeing this literally right now as I'm saying it, you already know that because you're an IntelliGame patron. And I want to say thank you for giving your support every month to IntelliGame. It means so much to be able to help keep this whole franchise going with your help. If you are seeing this a couple days later, I also appreciate you. But also consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Patreon.com/IntelliGame. You know the drill. You've heard other YouTubers pitch Patreon, but it's a monthly donation, a monthly tip or whatever the thing is, to help keep IntelliGame content going, and you can get some exclusive content and know that you're helping to support. What did I say it was? We take deep dives into games so we can take deep dives into ourselves, which I actually really like as IntelliGame's catchphrase. That might be the new thing. Deep dives in games, deep dives in self. Anyway, it's been a weird few weeks. I know that if you are a patron, it's been a while since you've heard from me. I'm doing some retooling, and 2022 has been a hell of a year, but who has it not been that way for? So, I'm trying to work my way out of some of my old perfectionist habits and instead saying, do the thing, try the thing, see if it works, see if you like it. If that's the case, and you do like it, and people like it, then keep doing it. And if not, move on. It's okay. You know? So, this is Streamcap. I have basically, I've struggled with this thing in my head where I feel like I should have like segment like welcome to Streamcap, and I should have like slides. I might do that next time. Anyway, so what is Streamcap? So essentially, I really enjoy streaming. Streaming is right now the majority share of IntelliGame content. I'm live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday most weeks, and putting in anywhere between 3 and 5 hours per stream. Now, for folks who are able to attend those, I think there's a lot of value. We have some really amazing discussions about games that folks might not see otherwise, or if they are games that they know well, we take the time to make a really deep dive into the narratives of the games that we play. We just finished one, Kentucky Route Zero, which, oh my gosh, took us so long, but it's such an amazing game. A sort of point and click narrative adventure about that starts off with a man named Conway trying to make an antique delivery to 5 Dogwood Drive, and finds out that he needs to go through Kentucky Route Zero to get there. A sort of paranormal highway. It's a magical realist game that deals with so many important themes of capitalism and dignity and Midwestern work ethic or Southern work ethic, of worker exploitation, of systems of power. There are just so many ways that it's hard for me to describe what Kentucky Route Zero is. And I'm excited. I'm so excited about that. Like, I have to get those videos, those VODs up on YouTube. I want more people to see it than just the folks who are able to attend during day streams. But I know not everybody has what will be like 40 hours plus, I think, to spend watching that Kentucky Route Zero content. So to try and get ready for other things moving forward, my goal is to put together stream caps, which are essentially 20 to 30 minute videos that give you some highlights from the stream, maybe dive into a couple pieces of discussion. And I would love to one day be able to like show video clips or something to give some context, but for now we're just talking through it. So I keep doing these hand gestures as if you can see them when my hands are under the desk. Great job. So essentially, Streamcap is going to be an opportunity for you folks to be able to get a little comparatively bite-sized portion of IntelliGame, and you can also access it at your own convenience, because it'll be... Oh, I already talked about that. Didn't I? I don't know. But essentially, you'll be able to access it at your own convenience here on YouTube. I am hoping to create more YouTube content, because as much as I enjoy Twitch and I love Twitch and the community that we've created there, but on YouTube I also recognize that there are ways to reach folks who you'll just never see on Twitch. So, you know, gotta play the content creation game, gotta be everywhere, gotta do everything. So that's what we're gonna do, at least for a while. I'm gonna try and be more concerted about my time, where it goes, and also try to not hold myself up in production. Usually what I do if I tried to do something like this is that I would try to record a video and then edit the video so that it's perfect and all of that different stuff. And I know that if I try to do that, at least right now, the video won't exist. So this is the alternative. This live stream will be available, again, exclusively to patrons for 2 days, for 48 hours, and then it'll be available on the just standard IntelliGame channel under a Stream Caps playlist, which I will make. So let's talk about today's stream. I told you last week we finished Kentucky Route Zero, and by the way, I guess the one other thing I should point out is that if these happen more often, if you want to watch live, you can like participate in chat and ask questions and things like that. I think it'll be a cool way for folks to be able to get in on that. I think we may also post it in the Discord for a little bit as well, to, you know, get some folks swinging in, seeing the thing, doing the thing. So let me give a quick bit of context for today. Right, today's stream was essentially just collecting community suggestions for games to play. I told you last week we finished Kentucky Route Zero. That was a game that took a very long time, and I swear was worth like every moment of it. But I also came into stream today and was like, I have no idea what we're gonna play. None. So let me see if I can pull this open for you. What I ended up doing was essentially asking for suggestions from the community for games that they might want to see. Now, there are no promises on this list. They're not in any particular order. It was just basically going through and trying to categorize, trying to get a list from all sorts of folks in the community. Now, the cool thing about this list, let me go ahead and actually show it to you. I think I can do it this way. I press this here, and then, oh, you don't care? Oh, okay, good. There we go. Hey, there we go. So, this is a public share. I will post a link to it so folks can see. And I'll probably find a way to get some suggestion, you know, a public place where you can make suggestions too. But basically, I went through and let's close that down. So I went through and basically just asked people to say in chat what games they're interested in, what games they thought were cool to them that they might want to see on stream. And what I'm going to end up doing is going through, looking up different things about these games and kind of categorizing where I think they would fit in terms of our content, and maybe pick some, maybe play some. Again, there are no promises here, but the thing that was really exciting to me as I was going through and hearing people make these suggestions was that, like, people were sharing games that were really important to them. Games that would be really prime targets for the kind of discussion we do in IntelliGame, where we talk about narrative themes, where we talk about people, where we get kind of introspective. Part of what made Kentucky Route Zero's playthrough so amazing was the amount that viewers were willing to venture, were willing to share about themselves and the ways that they connected to the things that were taking place in the game. It's part of what I really enjoy about the live stream experience, and so being able to find some of those references and see what people are interested in, I think is going to be really helpful. I also, though, do want to start doing some YouTube playthroughs as well. I think there's a place for some content that's just a little bit, maybe a little bit easier for me to go through. It doesn't necessarily take as much IntelliTime to get through. If you haven't been on stream, by the way, we have a term called IntelliTime. I really should get a black and yellow clock emote. Anyway, IntelliTime is basically, it's the time that we spend discussing a game and not necessarily playing that game at the same time. I like to say that there's a thing called the IntelliTime modifier, the IntelliTime ratio, something like that. I haven't figured it out yet. We're a formal mathematical formula. IntelliTime, it would basically be the ratio between how long it's estimated to take to play the game, just if you were playing it on your own with no whatever, and then how many hours it takes us on stream to get through that same game. There are some games that I think have particularly high IntelliTime multipliers. Soma, which we played a year and a half ago, maybe. A amazing first-person psychological horror game where you wake up after an operation. You have a brain condition. You wake up in a new body in a very strange place, and it has all sorts of discussions about sort of the, you know, what is the self, what is the soul, also all sorts of stuff. Oh gosh, the game was really good. Get in the Car Loser, which we played near the end of last year, had a real big IntelliTime multiplier. This is a very like queer focused, or like, well, yeah, I guess so, a very queer focused, called a lesbian road trip RPG that deals with themes of fighting fascism and finding community and finding yourself, and it's yeah, in many ways a brilliant game. Kentucky Route Zero probably has one of the highest IntelliTime multipliers of any game we've played on stream. It just, every act of its 5 acts and every piece of its five sort of like interludes are just full of so many interesting perspectives, so many pieces of discussion, and so much for us to. Anyway, I'll post all that. I'll post it on YouTube. Hopefully you'll watch it, and then you'll know, and then you'll get it. And you'll be like, oh wow, there's a lot of depth there. I didn't know. But anyway, so now that we're done with Kentucky Route Zero, we gotta pick a new game. And this list, I think, will help me get a sense of what the community is interested in. It might stick out to me like, oh yeah, I really want to check that one out. And then, yeah, it's just like a nice archive. So eventually what I'm going to do is build this out so that it's like publicly accessible. There'll be photos on these cards that you can see. And when you're accessing the board, it'll also have like maybe some information about why it was suggested, so that if you want to go and play one of these games yourself, you can go look it up and find it and give it a shot and maybe give some feedback of your own. Let me go through this list real quick because and call out some of the highlights. Now, I will say Firestar if we were to just find the one, Firestar has probably suggested nearly half of this list. Are any of these, most all of these that are blank, are either me out of nowhere or are suggestions from Firestar. This was a silver streak actually, and what was it? Wretched, the Wretched, that was a Tim Z. Anyway, let me not fix all of that while we're here. So the great thing about this was, again, getting to figure out what games people are really into. And so a few of the highlights that really stick out to me right now: Night in the Woods, we actually played through already. This is like Kentucky Route Zero, a narrative adventure that is very much an Appalachia Rust Belt story, but instead of it being this sort of like low poly, haunting human story, Night in the Woods uses a bunch of anthropomorphized characters, and it's goes through the story of this girl, May, who has come back from college due to a circumstance she doesn't super want to talk about, and is trying to find her way, trying to find a way to settle back into this hometown that has definitely changed even in the short time she's been gone. As a heads up, Night in the Woods I do think is an absolutely amazing game, and it's hard for me to not recommend it, but there are, if you were to do some looking into the game, you may also find out some things about one of the game's creators. There are some pretty heavy triggers in there for both abuse and suicide, so just a heads up if you go that route. But the game itself, even though it does also come with some content warnings of its own, is stellar. We brought up some casual games like V Rising. This is the new vampire team-based base builder that I actually played a little bit with the Stumped folks, and that was pretty fun. Citizen Sleeper, I am really excited about. This is actually a title that was recently released by Fellow Traveler, and it's yet another narrative adventure. It's a computer-based narrative adventure. The world building in it looks amazing. I've heard nothing but great things. We'll probably be taking on Citizen Sleeper fairly soon. Disco Elysium, there's a reason that I actually suggest that as a YouTube playthrough. Now, Disco is a very broad, like Citizens, but it's like a much bigger version of Citizen Sleeper in that they're both CRPGs. If that's a term that you've never heard before, it stands for like computer RPG. And the idea with a CRPG is that they are essentially they're games that are from like early on, a style that was common in early on computer gaming that basically was supposed to capture some of the look and feel of tabletop role-playing. So they're generally pretty dialogue heavy. The view is generally like a top-down, and most of its focus is on story, but obviously there's a combat system there as well, that kind of thing. Disco Elysium is very much in that tradition, and it is one of the most well-lauded games in a long time. But when we tried to play it on stream about a year ago, I actually wasn't able to keep playing it because it's got some really heavy content at the beginning, and I didn't know. I usually play games on stream for the first time, and so I was just like, I don't feel prepared to be able to make sure that the community is ready for some of the things that we're going to hit. And so that'll probably be a YouTube playthrough, so that I feel a little better about giving the heads up for like what's going to happen over the course of the playthrough in an episode. Norco is another game that is probably going to get a real quick highlight. I should make this bigger. There we go. Norco is another story-based game that I'm really excited about. This one's also available on Xbox Game Pass. I've heard a lot of recommendations there. Chrono Trigger, for any folks who are old Super Nintendo fans, Chrono Trigger is an old classic that came up on the suggestion list. Many people regard this as one of their favorite JRPGs of all time. I've heard that narratively it's really interesting. Jenny Kimchika has played through this before as well, so might be worth trying to find some of her content if maybe I can find a link to that. I don't know if the VODs are still active, but we'll see. Some other highlights in here. Pathologic 2, Firestar, and a number of other people have said that this would be an interesting follow-up to Kentucky Route Zero, and that it seems like they cover a number of similar social themes. Pathologic 2 seems to also have a bit of a horror element to it, and I am always kind of down for a bit of a creepy game, but I'm still gonna have to feel out whether or not that seems like something I want to take on right now. We also did some casual stuff. Pac-Man Museum would be cool for just like a hanging out, just chatting stream. I actually played a little bit of that last night, and there's some really good Pac-Man games. I'm disappointed there's no Miss Pac-Man, but whatever. There are also, let's see, Soundfall. I would love to spend some time with Soundfall. This is a action RPG that's got a rhythm-based mechanic and a looter-shooter thing, so it's got all of the itches I want to scratch. It's a rhythm-based game. It's got action to it. It's got loot. You can find better weapons and stuff over time. That seems pretty cool. Road 96. Road 96 was actually a vote candidate from earlier on in IntelliGame, and it got second place to, I think it was Getting the Car Loser, actually. This was a suggestion by, I believe, Jan, and I am really excited to spend some time with it. Another narrative adventure. This one, you are taking a road trip across a country steeped in fascism, and apparently a number of things can happen along the way. It's a really broad, really interesting game. A couple other suggestions. The Victoria Tran over at Innersloth suggested Strange Horticulture. This is a kind of peaceful hunting game where apparently you're growing different plants, and there's a story, kind of a creepy mystery that goes along with that. I'm really intrigued by it. I'd like to spend some time there. We also had recommendations for Returnal, which is probably my favorite PS5 exclusive. It is a roguelike action game. Feels like it's got some bullet hell to it, but it also chronicles the story of a woman who finds herself caught in a time loop, trying to figure out what happened, where she is, why she's there, etc. So there's some cool stuff there. I will say, though, that not all of the recommendations were video games. In fact, a number of them were tabletop RPGs, like Long Haul 1983. Let me see if I can actually open up this link, because this seemed really interesting. There we go. So Long Haul 1983, which is available as part of this Abortion Fund Support bundle right now as well. This is the game is temporarily more expensive. Until I don't understand why. Anyway, I don't care. So it says it's 1983 and the world feels hollowed out. You play a long-haul truck driver trying to make their way home. Every day you'll hit the road, navigating treacherous highways, fleeing from menacing threats, and dealing with the psychological impacts of isolation. At the end of each day, you'll find a payphone, make a call, and leave a message for the most important person in your life. They never pick up, you never stop calling. I just found out about solo RPGs fairly recently, and I think they just sound absolutely fantastic. It's a tabletop RPG, like if you were going to play Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, but a lot of them focus around giving you these opportunities to like journal and self-reflect, to create a story that deals with some sort of personal theme. I think that if I can get myself in the habit of doing any solo tabletop RPG content, that could become a really big IntelliGame staple, because I love having that opportunity to write and take on some creativity. Alongside that, The Wretched, which I believe is the system that Long Haul 1983 is based off of, requires a Jenga tower, so that'll be interesting. Starforged, which is it looks like a full-fledged tabletop RPG system, but has mechanics, rules, so that you can play it solo. We also have Plot Armor, which was developed by my friend Orion Black, and this was actually the first game that I ever found out about in terms of like solo RPGs. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. In stories, the hero can't die until the story is over. If the protagonist realized this in any capacity, what would they do? Catalog the journey of protagonist over a 32-episode mecha anime season. As you skip through episodes, it's your duty to be the voice of protagonist. Journal about what's happening to you, what's been happening to your armor, and about this unbelievable life of impossibilities. So I'm actually really excited to see that. Apparently, Dev Note Optimal plays a 24-episode season rather than 32. Interesting. Definitely going to spend some time with that one. And I'm a big fan of Orion's. If you see their content over on Dimension 20, it would be too. Other highlights, since we're starting to wrap up here, Golfy is apparently a deck builder that, like, it's a casual mini golf deck builder, and I think that's a really fun idea. You have cards that give you different golf shots that you can use to try and clear procedurally generated mini golf courses. There's Umurangi Generation, which sounds like a really amazing game. You are taking photos in this sort of washed out world that seems to be affected pretty heavily by climate change or some kind of other disaster. And then I will say there are a couple other ones in here. No Man's Sky has been really appealing. Essentially, if you were like, I'd like a game where I have a spaceship and explore the universe, No Man's Sky gives you the opportunity to do that, along with a functionally infinite number of planets, which means even though the game is all online and networked, you can find new planets. You can literally discover new planets and name a planet and like all of this different stuff. It's wild. And speaking of wild, Outer Wilds will be a game that we end up taking on pretty soon. This is a adventure game that has been recommended to me multiple times. I have no idea what the game's about because, kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, people are like, I can't tell you about it. You just need to figure it out. You just need to play it. And it's been recommended so heavily from an IntelliGame perspective that I know that one's going to be one we take on pretty soon. So yeah, I think the exciting part about making this list, like, this is not the world's most exciting first Streamcap video, but it was really exciting to me to make this list because it reminded me just how many amazing games are out there to play. And this is just scratching the surface in so many ways. And it also shows a lot of the creativity of our community and some of these games that most folks have never heard of that would have some really great opportunities for us to dive into some good stories. So I am really excited about this. Again, I'll put a link to this document in the video description, so if you want to take a look yourself and find some of these things, I'll be building this out over time so that there are more resources for you to find, more resources, so you can like actually find these games and play them for yourself if you'd like. Okay, I think that's the lion's share of what happened today on stream. Like there were a couple other things. I did play a demo for a game called Advent Neon that is this sort of hybrid action, side-scrolling action game with also like the speed and fluidity of Sonic. It's an amazing demo, and I can't recommend it enough if you're up for that sort of fast-moving platformer life. And otherwise, we just like looked around at Steam and talked games, and it was a good time. Have I decided what I'm going to stream tomorrow based on anything that's happened yet? Nah, not one bit. Not one bit at all. But when I find out, you'll know either by swinging by the stream or checking out the Streamcap. That's all I got for you today. If you are already a patron, thank you so much for being a patron. If you are not, patreon.com/IntelliGame. For as little as $1 a month, you can help keep this going. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, you can follow if you want to watch the streams live, twitch.tv/IntelliGame. We are live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. Wednesdays starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. And Saturdays starting at 8 a.m. Pacific. I'll probably put these on slides so it's easy to like go through this information. And finally, you can drop follows on social media. Follows are free, they say. You can follow on TikTok at Intelligame, on Twitter at IntelligameUs, on Instagram at IntelligameUs. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. And then also, of course, right here on YouTube, if you like the content here, hit the subscribe button. Don't smash the bell. Be kind to the bell, but like tap the bell so that you can get those notifications when new content comes up. And tell a friend. Yeah, do that. Well, final question or final thing for the stream. It was a question, which is, what games do you want to see as Intelligame content? Sky's the limit. Anything that you think has an interesting opportunity for us to learn about games or to learn about ourselves, throw it in the comments here or on Patreon if you got access over there. Would love to see your thoughts, and also, of course, those comments really help increase visibility and whatnot for the videos. So if you want to help Intelligame get out there, this is a good way to do it. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for checking out an Intelligame Streamcap. Maybe we'll try and cut it down to like 15 or even 10 in the future. I don't know. We'll see. Did this feel good? Let me know. We'll see. We'll see what feels good to me too. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, tomorrow for another stream cap. Keep your eyes up, keep your hearts open, and keep Intelligaming. We'll see you soon. Press the button. End the stream, please.